Hi all, this is Simona Rich, and in this audio I'm going to read out my article on Demonology, who is Lilith. Lilith is mentioned only once in the Bible, in Isaiah 34:14, where the Hebrew word Lilith is translated as the screech owl. In the verse, Isaiah prophesies that Lilith would be one of the demonic nocturnal creatures who would haunt the destroyed kingdom of Edom. This Hebrew word for the demoness Lilith is thought to be from the root word lil, which stands for night or gloom. In Arabic and Akkadian, this word stands for night as well. However, it is believed by some researchers that the name Lilith comes from the Sumerian Lil, which means air. And in some cuneiform inscriptions, the terms Lilitu and Lilith stand for the disease-bearing wind spirits, according to the same source, which is found in newworldencyclopedia.org/entry/Lilith. The first time we find this demon mentioned is at around 3000 BC as a class of Sumerian storm spirits called Lilitu, quoting, "The Lilitu were said to prey upon children and women and were described as associated with lions, storms, desert, and disease. Early portrayals of Lilitu are known as having zoo-bird talons for feet and wings. Later accounts depict Lilitu as a name for one figure and several spirits. Similar demons from the same class are recorded around the same this time frame. Lilu, a succubus, Ardat Lili, Lilith's handmaid, who would come to men in their sleep and beget children from them, and Irdu Lili, the succubus counterpart to Ardat Lili." Further quoting from the New World Encyclopedia, Babylonian texts depict Lilith as the prostitute of the goddess Ishtar. Similarly, older Sumerian accounts state that Lilitu is called the handmaiden of Inanna or hand of Inanna. The texts say that Inanna has sent the beautiful unmarried and seductive prostitute Lilitu out into the fields and streets in order to lead men astray. Identical to the Babylo-Sumerian Lilitu, the Akkadian Ardat Lili, and the Assyrian La Bartu presided over temple prostitution. Ardat is derived from Ardatu, a title of prostitutes and young unmarried women, meaning maiden. Like Lilith, Ardat Lili was a figure of disease and uncleanliness. In the Gilgamesh prologue, we find one of the earliest mentions of Lilith. In it, she is identified as a demoness that has her nest in a tree. Inanna, who planted the tree, came back to it after 10 years to look after it, to find out that 3 creatures have made the tree their habitation. When Gilgamesh found out about this matter due to Inanna's plight, he killed the dragon occupying the tree, and another inhabitant, the zoo bird, fled with its young to the mountains, and Lilith destroyed the nest and escaped to the wilderness. Although the myths about Lilith were present in many different cultures from ancient days, it was only in the Middle Ages that Jews began to claim her as Adam's first terrifying wife, who fled from him because she refused to submit to him. The reason the story was invented in the 8th to 10th centuries AD in the anonymous text Alphabet of Sirach was in order to explain seemingly 2 different acts of creation of man and woman described in Genesis 1 and 2. Some started guessing that the reason these 2 acts of creation were described was because there actually were 2 of them. It's told that at first man and woman were created at the same time. However, they started fighting for supremacy the moment they were given life. Lilith refused to submit to Adam and escaped the garden to become a child-harming demon. As a result, another woman had to be created for Adam. Medieval speculations about Lilith's origins were in no way the first accounts which made the name of Lilith more known to the Hebrew people. She was well known in this culture maybe from the very beginning, and was feared by them for the very same reason she was feared by other nations, for her ability to harm, kill, and snatch infants. Israelis eagerly waited for the 8th day of the birth of a baby boy so that they would circumcise him and would remove the threat of Lilith. The baby girl was told to be no longer in danger of Lilith after 20 days of her birth. Sometimes infants would wear protective amulets until the days of harm would pass. In the land of Israel, as well as in many other places in the Near East, there were found bowls with incantations written against this demoness. On the Aramaic incantation bowl, Lilith is drawn in the middle with bound hands or in chains, as it was believed that such a depiction of her would stop her from doing harm. Around her picture, magical incantations were written in a spiral. Such bowls, also known as demon traps, were buried upside down, as it was believed that this would capture demons such as Lilith. Such bowls were buried under the threshold, in cemeteries, or in the homes of recently deceased. Most of such bowls were made against three evils: the evil eye, Lilith, and the Bagdana demons, which are sort of like Lilith demons but stronger and having authority over Liliths. Such incantation bowls found in Israel were dated from the 6th century AD. Although this demoness was especially feared by new mothers, she was also identified with what we know today as the succubus demon, who steals sperm of men sleeping alone and impregnates itself with it to give birth to hybrid offspring. This demon is believed to be the mother of hundreds of demons. Liliths could be either male or female, according to the Jewish understanding. One of the incantation bowls found in Nippur, we read on one of the incantation bowls, we read, "Thou Liliths, male lily and female lily, hag and ghoul, I adjure you by the strong one of Abraham, by the rock of Isaac, by the Shaddai of Jacob, by Yahashem, by Yah's memorial, to turn away from this Rashnoi, and from Geonai, her husband. Here is your divorce and writ and letter of separation sent through holy angels. Amen, amen, Selah, hallelujah." The male aspect of this demon is also found in Akkadian and Sumerian mythologies, which identify Lilith as a masculine wind demon. Interestingly, the father of Gilgamesh is listed in the Sumerian king list as Lilith. In one translation of the king list, Gilgamesh's father is identified as Phantom. Lilith was told to disturb women in their sleep and had the functions of an incubus. So maybe Gilgamesh was born from the union of a woman and a demonic entity. On another incantation bowl we read, "Salvation from heaven for Dadbe, the son of Asmanduch, and for Sherkoi, the daughter of Dada his wife, and for their sons and daughters and their house and their property, that they may have offspring and may live and be established and be preserved from demons, devils, plagues, satans, curses, Liliths, and tormentors, which may appear to them." End of quote. The tradition of making bowls with magic incantations against demons, as well as wearing amulets for the same purpose, probably came from Babylon, where such items were found as well. In Babylonian myths, Lilith is depicted as a winged night demon preying on pregnant women and infants. She might be associated with the invention of abortions too, though there are no reliable sources mentioning this fact. In ancient Mesopotamia, the words lamashtu and Lilith both signified the type of demons that snatch or harm babies. Lilith is known as a winged demoness that dwells in desolate places, and the verse mentioning her in Isaiah supports her affinity with such places of destruction as well. Aramaic magic texts claim that Lilith could enter the room of a pregnant woman in the form of a fly. However, in the Aramaic tradition, demons were not limited to being able to only shapeshift into one creature. They could take any form that they pleased, and even become humans if they wished. Summarily, as well as more recent writers, depict Lilith as a beautiful yet evil woman, while some depict her as a totally sinister creature. She is even portrayed by some as the serpent in the Garden of Eden, or having some kind of reptilian features. She is told to have long, disheveled hair, and sometimes she is told to have the head of a lion. Sometimes Lilith is depicted as a half-woman, half-snake being. We see this kind of creature depicted in stone in many Indian villages, where she is sometimes shown with many eggs, probably showing her high fertility. I remember even taking pictures of the multiple eggs that were engrafted on stones in Gokarna, one of the pilgrimage villages of India. These half-snake, half-human beings are called Nagas in India. They were known through the Vedas since around 5000 BC, according to the dating of some Indians. They were known to be half-divine beings that were extremely gifted and able to assume any shape that they wanted. So since those beings were shapeshifters, they might be known in different cultures in different appearances. Therefore, Lilith is likely to be the very snake woman worshipped by Indians, or at least related to them, to the snake woman. In Mesopotamian myths, Lilith is said to seduce men, harm pregnant women, mothers and newborn children, drink blood, and cause disease, sickness, and death. In Greek mythology, a similar demoness is called Lamia. She is told to devour children and seduce men and then drink their blood. It's difficult to find her uncopyrighted pictures, so again, I did not include it in the article I'm reading out from in my article, but you can view that picture if you can Google Lamia, then you will be able to get her picture, or you can enter Greek mythology Lamia or something like this, and probably you will see the picture in Google Images. In fact, in the early 5th century Latin Vulgate manuscript of the Bible, Lilith is translated as Lamia. The HBO series True Blood has a character named Lilith too, and she is told to be the progenitor of the vampire race. The name of Lilith is also found in the exorcism text of the Dead Sea Scrolls, 4Q 510-511. Lilith's most well-known depiction is now doubted whether it was indeed her depiction or the image of some other goddess. I do believe this is her image, although people think that's the image of Ishtar, the one that I mean, which is available on my website. You can check, and this article is also available on my website, which is simoneridge.com/Lilith, and you will also be able to see that image of her that is now doubted whether it's her image indeed or not. I do believe this to be her image because she is described in other sources as a winged woman who is also associated with lions, owls, and birds, with which she is often portrayed. However, due to her shape-shifting nature, not all her depictions would look similar, and that's where confusion about her identity can arise. Also, various cultures would certainly portray Lilith in different ways, as it is usual for the same gods or spirits to be portrayed differently in different countries. Sometimes the same culture changes the appearance of their gods and spirits throughout time as a result of different narratives developing about a particular deity or spirit. We see this, for example, in the depictions of the Hindu god Shiva throughout time. Feminists tend to identify with Lilith because they associate her with freedom, unrestrained sexual activity, and independence from the male authority. This particular group of women tends to ignore the dark aspects of this demon. A Jewish feminist magazine is called by her name, and there is Lilith Fund run in Texas that supports abortion and even raised money for helping to terminate unwanted pregnancies of those women who could not afford them. Finally, I hope that you have enjoyed listening to this explanation of what I was able to discover about this demoness. If you have more information about this particular spirit, then you can leave a comment about it on my website, on the post about Lilith, which is you can access it by going to simonerich.com/Lilith. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great day.